Welcome to the Senior Techie Podcast. Let me just paint a picture for you real quick.
Okay, go for it.
So, imagine someone named Carol. She is 72 years old, retired, and she just received her third medical diagnosis this year.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is unfortunately very common.
Right. First it was high blood pressure, then came the osteoarthritis in her knees, and now her doctor has told her she has pre-diabetes.
That's a heavy load to carry all at once.
It is, and Carol is just exhausted. I mean, she's tired of sitting in these chilly examination rooms, having doctors hand her glossy pamphlets, and just feeling like her own body is completely out of her control.
Absolutely. When someone is managing all that, there's this pervasive, unspoken assumption that the damage is already done.
Like the ship has sailed.
Exactly. People think, well, why should I even bother trying to change my habits now? It's just too late.
But, and this is what we are going to explore, what if the data shows the exact opposite? What if, precisely because Carol is sick, she actually has far more to gain from a few simple lifestyle changes than someone half her age?
It's a really fascinating shift in perspective.
We want to show you how much of your health is actually still in your own hands as you get older, blending recent longevity research with simple, everyday technology. Our goal is to show you that you have not been left behind, not by technology, and certainly not by your own biology.
Yeah, and to start, we have to tackle the medical field's incredibly clunky term for what Carol is going through, which is multimorbidity.
Multimorbidity, it just sounds so intimidating.
It really does. But I mean, all it means is having two or more chronic conditions at the exact same time.
Right, but living with it is a whole different story. For anyone listening, juggling multimorbidity is honestly like trying to keep a dozen different finicky houseplants alive in the exact same window.
Oh, that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, because you have one plant that needs a gallon of water every single day, right? But another one needs bone-dry soil. Another requires constant shade, while one demands direct sunlight.
And if you mix them up, they wither.
Exactly. You're standing there trying to remember which one needs what, terrified of making a mistake. That is what it feels like to go to one doctor for your joints, another for your blood sugar, and somehow remember which pills interact with which foods.
It is a massive cognitive load, which is why researchers set out to answer a very pragmatic question. Does living a healthier lifestyle still yield any meaningful biological benefit once you're already managing all these conditions, or are you just, spinning your wheels?
And they found a concrete answer in this massive recent study out of China. I want to emphasize the scale here. They tracked over 21,000 people.
Wow, 21,000.
Yeah, and crucially, every single participant was aged 60 and older. They followed this group for a median of about 3.5 years, recording over 15,000 deaths in that window.
So they had a massive, highly reliable data set regarding mortality in older adults.
All right.
To understand how these people were living, the researchers measured what they called a healthy lifestyle index. This wasn't about, extreme biohacking. They just looked at 5 fundamental factors.
Just the basics. Right?
Yeah, exactly. First, weight management. Second, whether they smoked. Third, alcohol consumption. Fourth, regular physical activity. And fifth, diet quality. Focusing on adequate fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins rather than heavily processed foods.
If a pharmaceutical company invented a single pill that reduced your risk of dying from multiple chronic diseases by 35%, it would be a trillion-dollar industry.
Oh, it would be on the front page of every newspaper in the world.
But that pill is basically what this study uncovered. People who scored high on that healthy lifestyle index had a 35% lower risk of dying during the study period compared to those with unhealthy habits.
And that is a staggering reduction. But we really have to look closer at the most counterintuitive finding in the entire study, which directly dismantles the idea that the damage is already done.
Oh, right. This part blew my mind.
Yeah. The protective effect of those 5 healthy habits was actually measurably stronger for the participants who already had multimorbidity than it was for the relatively healthy participants.
See, hold on. I am struggling with the math on that.
How so?
Well, if my body is already fighting 3 different diseases, let's say arthritis, diabetes, and hypertension, my baseline health is already compromised. Shouldn't the healthy people get the bigger advantage because they aren't fighting an uphill battle?
It seems like they should.
Right. So why does the data show that the sicker you are, the more these habits actually move the needle?
It really comes down to understanding baseline systemic stress. When you are generally healthy, Your baseline risk of mortality is quite low, and your internal systems are running smoothly.
Okay, that makes sense.
A healthy lifestyle keeps you on that trajectory, but the observable boost is marginal because, well, your body isn't in a state of emergency. However, when your body is actively fighting multiple chronic conditions, you are dealing with chronic systemic inflammation.
Your systems are basically constantly misfiring.
Exactly. Your baseline risk is extremely high.
It's like patching a leaky boat.
Oh yeah, explain that.
If you have one tiny pinhole leak, bailing a little bit of water out with a bucket helps, but you are mostly staying afloat anyway.
Right.
But if your boat has 3 massive leaks, which is our multi-morbidity scenario, bailing water literally makes the difference between staying afloat and sinking immediately. The action of bailing is the exact same, but the impact is wildly magnified because the system was in active crisis.
That illustrates the mechanics of it wonderfully.
Yeah.
The body is so starved for support that when you finally reduce the inflammatory load by eating better or walking more, the physiological response is dramatic.
The habits are actively counteracting the compounding damage.
Yes, and this mechanism is backed up by another major longitudinal study of adults 50 and older, using data from the United States and England.
I was looking at the US and England data, and what stands out is that it completely removes the pressure of needing a dramatic life overhaul. The research proved that it is just the consistent, small, boring, repeated choices over the years that lower the risk of developing these conditions in the first place.
The boring choices are the most biologically powerful. It is not about suddenly becoming a vegan triathlete at age 70.
Thank goodness.
Right. It is about whether you consistently choose to walk most days. It is about whether you sit for 3 hours at a time or if you break that up. Those small choices physically alter how your cells age.
So if movement is the most potent medicine we have, the immediate problem becomes the dosage. Out of the 5 factors in the Chinese study, physical activity carried the absolute strongest protective punch.
You really did.
But how do you know you were getting enough of that medicine without driving yourself crazy trying to track it? That is where the technology finally steps in to do the heavy lifting, specifically through wearable fitness trackers. But I have to be honest, I carry some heavy skepticism here.
A lot of people do, especially in the senior demographic. What is the root of your hesitation?
Well, for years, the marketing around fitness trackers has totally alienated anyone who isn't a peak performance athlete. You see commercials with 25-year-olds sprinting up a mountain at dawn, checking their glowing watch.
Yeah, jumping over boulders and swimming miles.
Exactly. It creates this perception that these gadgets are just expensive toys for people who already live at the gym. How does a piece of silicon and glass actually move the needle for someone in their 70s who is managing lung disease and stiff joints?
The marketing departments have done older adults a massive disservice there, because the medical data tells a profoundly different story. Let's look at a recent review of 35 distinct clinical trials.
Okay.
These trials were not studying healthy young people. They specifically evaluated patients with serious chronic illnesses, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
So this is exactly Carol's demographic.
Entirely. And the researchers found that simply wearing a basic activity tracker, just putting the device on the wrist, increased daily steps by an average of over 2,000.
By taking those extra 2,000 steps, they aren't just burning a few calories. The continuous movement physically alters the blood vessels.
It really does.
When you walk, the increased blood flow prompts the inner lining of your blood vessels to release nitric oxide. That nitric oxide naturally relaxes and widens the vessel walls, which physically lowers blood pressure.
It's amazing.
And 2,000 extra steps, which is roughly just 1 extra mile of movement scattered throughout the entire day, was enough to successfully lower blood pressure and cholesterol across these trial participants.
The biological cascade triggered by that simple mechanical movement is remarkable. The muscles act as an endocrine organ, releasing proteins that improve insulin sensitivity, which, directly combats the prediabetes we mentioned in Carol's scenario.
I was reading through another trial from Taipei, and the thing that struck me wasn't just that the participants got stronger, it's that they didn't even touch the complex app features.
That is the best part.
We always assume that to get the benefit of a smart device, you have to use all the smart features, the leaderboards, the community challenges, the sleep staging graphs.
Right, which is overwhelming.
But these older adults were given modest starting goals of just 5,000 steps, moving up to 7,500. They just used the raw number on the screen. And after 8 weeks, That simple feedback loop decreased their sedentary time, drastically and measurably increased their muscle strength.
The simplicity is the feature, not a bug. They didn't need to become software engineers to benefit from the hardware. However, we do need to manage expectations regarding what these devices are actually capable of doing.
Right. Because there is a dangerous misconception that strapping on a smartwatch is like carrying a doctor's clinic on your wrist.
They are not medical-grade diagnostic tools. While fitness trackers are incredibly accurate for tracking daily behavioral trends like your step count or roughly how many minutes your heart rate was elevated, they should not replace your medical equipment.
So you shouldn't rely on a consumer fitness tracker to take an actionable medical blood pressure reading.
Never. Or to diagnose a cardiac event. They are behavioral tools, not diagnostic ones.
They just give you a baseline of your own habits. If it is 3 in the afternoon and you look at your wrist and see you have only taken 800 steps, the watch is just an objective, gentle nudge reminding you to maybe stand up and walk to the kitchen a few times.
Exactly. But, knowing the gadget works medically is really only half the battle. The other half is overcoming the psychological barrier of adoption.
Getting an older adult to confidently use this technology without feeling foolish or frustrated is the real hurdle we hear about constantly from the community at the Senior Techie.
It is genuinely intimidating to spend good money on a device, open the box, and immediately feel a wave of anxiety because you don't know what to tap or swipe.
People are terrified they're going to push the wrong button and break it or somehow delete all their information.
That anxiety is a recognized phenomenon in the literature. But a recent mixed methods study of adults over 50 with chronic illnesses showed a very encouraging trend. They had this demographic try-out wearable trackers, and despite the initial apprehension, 73% of them plan to keep using the device long-term after the study ended.
Wow, almost 3/4 of the participants realized the value once they got past the unboxing phase.
They did. However, the study explicitly noted that the participants required initial help setting the device up and learning how to interpret the numbers.
We absolutely have to normalize asking for help with setup. No one is born knowing how to navigate a Bluetooth pairing menu.
Very true.
But one piece of technical jargon that frequently surfaces in the manuals, and it completely paralyzes people, is the instruction that the device will sync directly to health portals.
Oh, that term is a significant stumbling block.
Yeah.
How would you demystify the concept of syncing for someone who finds it intimidating?
Think of syncing like an automatic bill pay for your health data.
Okay, I like that.
Just like your bank automatically sends your electric payment every single month, without you needing to sit down, write a physical check, and mail it, your watch quietly deposits your daily steps right into your doctor's digital portal.
It just happens in the background.
Exactly. In the olden days, you had to write your health metrics in a little notebook and physically hand it to the nurse. Syncing just handles that transaction for you. You don't have to push a button. You don't have to do any math. It just securely transfers the numbers while you go about your day.
That removes the mystery completely. The technology is just handling the administrative work so the patient can focus on the actual walking.
So let's build a highly specific step-by-step game plan for the listener. If you are listening right now and you want to take your health back into your own hands by purchasing a tracker, here is how you do it without getting overwhelmed.
Step 1 is hardware selection. Pick a device that features clear, simple numbers. You want a screen where your daily steps or your active minutes are displayed front and center in a large font.
So avoid the complicated dashboards.
Actively avoid the models that feature a default dashboard full of tiny, confusing graphs and multiple colors.
Step 2 is about the psychology of goal setting. The default setting on almost every device on the market is 10,000 steps. Do not start there.
Definitely not.
It is actually a completely made-up marketing number from the 1960s anyway. Go into the settings and change the goal to something deeply achievable, like 5,000 steps. Give yourself a target you can actually hit so your brain associates the watch with success on day 1 rather than failure.
Step 3 is arguably the most important. Ask for a 15-minute setup walkthrough. Bring the box to a grandchild, take it to a technology workshop at your local library, or simply ask the clerk at the electronics store to help you pair it to your phone before you even leave the building.
Just don't do it alone if you're nervous.
Right. Do not let the frustration of the first fumbling week make you throw the device in a drawer.
Everyone fumbles during the first week. Expect it, accept it, and ask for help. Step 4 is habit formation. Check your numbers once a day at the exact same time. Habit stack it with something you already do.
Like checking it in the morning.
Yeah. Look at the screen right after you pour your morning coffee or right after you finish dinner. When it becomes anchored to an existing routine, it stops feeling like a technological chore and just becomes a natural part of your day.
And finally, step 5.
Well,
Share the data. If your medical provider uses a system that allows for that automatic bill pay style of syncing we discussed, set it up.
it gives them so much more context.
It provides your doctor with a rich, continuous picture of your actual biological behavior between appointments, rather than just a single snapshot taken in a stressful examination room.
Let's address the final hurdle. Let's say you follow the 5 steps. You have your device, your goals are set, and you are feeling empowered. Naturally, you might want to research more about healthy aging or figure out a specific setting on your smartphone. Where do you safely go for that information?
It's tough because typing arthritis help into a search engine is a minefield.
The internet is aggressively optimized to target seniors with scams. Within seconds of a search, you are bombarded with advertisements for unregulated miracle supplements or expensive, useless magnetic bracelets.
You really need safe digital harbors where the information is peer-reviewed and the motive isn't profit.
So what are the gold standard resources that you recommend?
For anything related to health and longevity, the National Institute on Aging is unparalleled. Their website is nia.nih.gov. Because they are part of the National Institutes of Health, they provide incredibly solid, free, evidence-based guides on healthy aging.
And there aren't a bunch of ads.
There are no pop-up ads, and no one is trying to sell you a subscription.
nia.nih.gov. And for the hardware side of things, where is the safest place for tech support?
If you are in the Apple ecosystem, using an iPhone or an Apple Watch, go directly to Apple's official support site at support.apple.com. They have mastered the art of jargon-free, step-by-step instructions.
They use clear pictures, large text, and they guide you through setting up devices or health applications without assuming you have a computer science degree.
Exactly.
I want to speak directly to you, the listener, for a moment. Does the idea of navigating a government health website or a corporate tech support page feel intimidating? Does it feel like its own kind of homework?
It certainly can.
If it does, just reframe how you are visualizing it. Think of these specific sites less like browsing the wild west of the internet and more like walking into a well-organized, brightly lit public library.
That's a great analogy.
The information is heavily curated, the environment is safe. The experts who rate those pages are functioning like friendly librarians. They're just there to hand you the facts. There is nobody lurking in the aisles trying to sell you a miracle cure. It is a space designed entirely for you to learn at your own pace.
We have covered incredible ground here. We started with the sheer exhaustion of managing multimorbidity and unraveled that powerful Chinese study proving that your body is never too far gone to heal.
The underlying biology shows us that when you have chronic conditions, reducing your systemic inflammation through lifestyle changes actually yields a more dramatic return on investment than it does for a perfectly healthy person.
We looked at the mechanics of how something as fundamentally simple as walking lowers blood pressure through the release of nitric oxide, and how a basic fitness tracker acts as the dosage meter for that movement.
You don't need complex apps. You just need a number on a screen and the willingness to take a few extra steps.
It all routes back to the profound power of small, boring, repeated choices. Those daily choices compound on a cellular level over time, gradually handing you your independence back.
You do not need to train for a marathon at 75 years old to change your biology.
Yeah.
A consistent walk to the mailbox, a deliberate choice to park a few spots further away at the grocery store, these things trigger real, measurable changes in your blood vessels and your muscle fibers.
The clinical data is unequivocal. Every single step counts toward dismantling the too late myth.
I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your day. What if the most powerful systemic medical intervention available to you right now isn't hidden inside a new pill bottle at the pharmacy? What if the most potent tool you have to reclaim your health is literally waiting for you to strap it to your wrist, step out your front door, and take a single step?
That's really something to think about.
This podcast was brought to you by The Senior Techie. It's available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. If you'd like to receive their free newsletters, you can subscribe at subscribe.theseniortechie.com.